Hello everyone, my name is Sari. You are watching my YouTube channel and my knitting podcast videos, and this is the seventh episode of the second season of my knitting podcast. I just bought a new camera and I'm still trying to figure out how to use it, but hopefully the sound quality and the film picture quality of my videos is better from now on. But yeah, like I said, I'm still kind of trying to figure out all the functions, how the camera works, so let's see how this goes. Another thing, you can see me wearing a new pullover. This is the Sora pullover that I've been knitting since last December, and the yarn that I used for this was from Cosmic Strings Yarns. This is the colorway grid. It's their merino single base, and for the cuffs and for the neckline and the hem, I made some brioche, and I used their dusty colorway. It's this kind of pale purple lavender shade of color, and this is a really basic top-down pullover with raglan increases. And the thing that makes this a little special is the two-color as well as these brioche cuffs that have this little patterning going on, and also they have these like volume sleeves. I'm not sure if you can see them really well on the film. It feels like forever since the last time I talked to you guys about what I've been knitting. I've been talking about going to Edinburgh, and then I made a special one-year anniversary episode about how I started to knit. So I kind of feel like it's been a long time since I last shared what's on my needles. So I've been quite busy lately. The kind of the whole month of March went by with me knitting mostly stuff for Novita. So I made the pullover that I wore in Edinburgh, and also for the H+H Cologne fair I made a couple of pullovers at work, and I think it took quite a lot of my knitting time. So my own knitting has been a bit slower than normal for the the last month, but I've been trying to catch up with everything I'm knitting, and not start a whole lot of new projects. So like I said, I finished the Sora pullover. I'm still writing the pattern for it, but as soon as it's finished, I will have to call for test knitters for that one. And also another one that I finished was the Wayne pullover. You've probably seen this already on my Instagram page, but like I said, I finished this one, and I've been wearing it a lot already. This became immediately one of my favorite pullovers because I think it's really classic. It goes with almost everything. So it's this very traditional fisherman inspired pullover, and I made this double folded neckline, so it looks quite sturdy and finished. And the yarn that I used for this was from Studio Meez. Caroline hand dyed the yarn for me. It's her DK base. I'm not sure if it's still available for purchase, but she made a custom dye job for me with this like off-white base and minimalistic blue and dark gray speckles. And I've also been writing the pattern for this one, so this is also going to be available for test knitting very soon. But like with any job, even though if you love your job like a lot like I do, I love knitting and I love making knitting patterns, but since I started working full-time at Novita, kind of feel like first I work 8 hours at the office, knitting up swatches and writing knitting patterns, and when I come home I just I don't want to see anything like pattern related in the evening. I've been so tired, or my brain has been so tired after all the work, that I kind of haven't felt like writing any more patterns in the evening. I've been knitting quite a lot, but I've been trying to knit more like for fun instead of like only thinking about how to write the pattern and so on. So my own work has been a bit lazy for the past few weeks, but for the longest of time I've been working multiple jobs at the same time. I've been working from 8 to 4 for my like day job, and then when I come home I spend the whole evening knitting and writing patterns, and until January I still had my Zumba classes. Now I put the Zumba classes on hold because of the new life situation of me traveling back and forth, but I've been like learning choreographies for Zumba and trying to figure out new music, and then knitting and writing patterns, and I have kind of felt like I've been constantly knitting or working, or I don't have any time off, so that's something that I'm trying to figure out at the moment, like trying to become kind of more mindful, and trying to give my brain a break every now and then. It's hard because I've been working a lot for such a long time that it's like I kind of feel really guilty when I'm not working, and it's weird to not work, but something that I need to learn. I need to learn how to unwind and just be. That's one of the reasons why I started to knit, was the reason that I just didn't know how to be, how to like just sit and do nothing. It's really hard for me, so I kind of always have to be doing something, and knitting is an easy way to feel that need to do something and keep working, because you can just sit and knit all the time and you produce something. It's not like wasted time, but that's something that I really need to learn. I need to learn how to not work all the time. I often notice that people think that knitting is not kind of like real work, but if you are writing patterns from 8 to 4 to like 5 days a week, it really is a work, and it's like it's a lot of math and figuring out math problems and how to explain things. So it is hard work. It's not just that I knit through the whole day, but I kind of, knitting is like a really small part of what I do, and there's a lot of work that goes into writing a knitting pattern. But anyway, I'm writing the pattern for Wayne and also for Sora, and I'm posting them the test knitting calls on my Ravelry group very soon. So as soon as I just can find the time to figure out a couple of things about the patterns, and then they are ready for test knitting. I must say these two are two of my favorite patterns that I have ever written. So I'm just really excited about both of them, and I'm really excited about writing the patterns and getting the patterns out for you to also knit them. But speaking of patterns and pattern writing, I just released the pattern for the Voyager pullover. You might remember I was knitting this one during last autumn and last winter. I bought the yarn from Edinburgh when we were there with my husband last September. This is from Ginger Twist Studios. This is Ginger's hand-dyed sheepish Aran, and the colorway was called Voyager. So I named the pullover after the colorway, and it has this crisscross 1/1 cable pattern, all over cable pattern, and there are 3 options for the neck. So there is a short neck, this kind of funnel neck, and then a longer turtleneck, so you can pick which one you want to make. And it has a high-low hem, so the back hem is slightly longer than the front, and it's kind of like a quite generous fit, so it's a bit oversized, set in sleeves pattern. And this has been also one of my favorite wears this winter, especially the neckline. I just love the neckline. It's high, but it's not the kind of like turtleneck that sometimes you feel like you choke with a turtleneck, but it's quite loose and wide, but it still covers your neck when it's cold outside. And even though it's starting to get warmer outside, as spring is coming, I'll be still wearing this a lot because I kind of like it that I can wear a more lightweight coat at the moment, but still keep warm by adding this woolen layer in between. And then if it's really warm, I can either take this one off or the trench coat off and still stay warm, but not like too hot or too cold. So this is now available on my Ravelry page. I will add the link to the pattern below the video, so you can easily find your way to the pattern. Another pattern that is coming out really soon, like maybe next week. I just have to take photos. It's like my always the hardest part for me about writing patterns is taking photos that I'm like kind of pleased with. So this is the Aava pullover. When I first knitted this, I wasn't planning on making a pattern. So I was just kind of like knitting it for myself. But when it was finished, quite many of you started asking for the pattern, so I decided that I will write the pattern, but it was quite hard for me to like retrace all the steps. So the pattern writing process was quite a hard one for me because I didn't make any notes while I was knitting, so I didn't have any kind of like I just had to like rethink everything and kind of like a discovery mission to track everything that I have made. But the pattern is now finally ready. Thanks for all my wonderful test knitters. They were so helpful in this process. But this too has an all-over cable pattern and popple pattern, and it has this contrasting log cabin garter stitch sleeve caps. So this is knitted in pieces and then seamed together. It has a raglan construction, and lastly the neckline is picked and knitted to the body. So this is also going to be available in my Ravelry store next week. And another pattern that is coming the week after Easter is the Villa cardigan. It's still being test knitted, but it's going to be available on 27th of April. That's the release date for Villa cardigan. There are a couple of more patterns that are coming out from me quite soon, but they are still a bit secret. I can't wait to tell you more about them, but yeah, you just have to wait and see. It's gonna be something quite gorgeous, I promise. But I'll just quickly show you what I've been knitting lately. Like I said, I've been trying not to cast on too many things. I usually, when I get the stuff off my needles, I have this like multiple cast on session that I cast on like four or five different projects, but I've been trying to not do that this time. I still have a couple of projects that I need to finish, so I've been trying to concentrate on those ones first. So I'm gonna show you what I've been making. This is from Nomad Noos. This is the Camel yarn that I've been talking about, and I've showed this shawl to you earlier, but it has grown quite a lot since the last time I showed it to you. So it's already this long, and this has this garter and slip stitch mock rib pattern and an irregular bubble pattern that is going on both sides of the fabric. So it starts on this side over here at the very bottom, and then it continues on the other side, and then again change side to the other side of the shawl, and it's going to keep repeating on first one side of the shawl and then other side, because I kind of like shawls that have pattern on both sides, so it doesn't matter how you put it on, it looks good on each side, because when you put on a sweater, it's gonna be the same way on you the whole day, but shawls, when you wear them, they move, and I prefer when shawls look good on both sides, so when you throw it on and when you move, you don't have to worry about the wrong side, the ugly back side showing. So that's why I decided to make this bubble pattern that keeps going on each side of the shawl. And I met a Koti from Nomad Noos in Edinburgh, and we had a lovely chat, and she told me more about the process of making her yarns. And like I said, this one is camel yarn from the fiber is from Mongolia, and then it's sent to Nepal, and they have women spinners who hand spin the yarn in Nepal. And what was interesting about the yarn was that this is actually the winter fur of the camels, and they are not sheared like usually you do with lamb's wool. You shear the lambs, but they are actually brushed, and the winter fur is collected from the camels and then used to spin. So it's like really animal friendly process. And they started with, I think it was 5 spinners in Nepal, and they have already managed to educate more women and build up the business so that they have 8 spinners at the moment, if I remember correct, but all the information is on their website. So this is like a really like this feel good yarn. You really know that you are making a change when you are working with this yarn, and it's super soft. It's really light and super soft, and I think I've used something like a bit over 100 grams of the yarn, and it's already this long, so you can imagine how airy it is, even though it's super warm and such a nice fabric. I really enjoy working on this one. So another shawl project that I've been making, you might remember me working on the Quantum shawl. I started it already before Christmas, and the yarns that I used for it were the Lanka to Feel It yarn colors from Hedgehog Fibers and Vogue collection. But it was quite kind of a unfortunate project. I started working on it, and first I didn't like the way there's this like triangle pattern. I didn't like the way the triangles went, so I ripped it back because it wasn't kind of like what I had in my mind. The second time I cast it on, I made the bottom rip, and when I started to make the triangles, I realized I had cast it on the wrong amount of stitches, so I had to rip back the second time. On the third try, I liked the shape of the triangles, but you might remember me showing you the shawl. Actually, I haven't ripped it back the third time. It's still in, but I left it in Helsinki, so I don't have it with me at the moment. But in the next episode, I can show you how it looks like. But anyway, it lost all the contrast between the colors, and just got really annoyed, and I put it on the side and started to think what I wanted to do. I really liked the colors, but as it was for a sample, and I wanted to show more contrast between the triangles, I was kind of afraid that if I knit it like that and put the pattern out, it doesn't like give the idea that I was going for. So I reached out to Madeline from Yama Fiber Arts because I'm such a fan of her work, and asked if she would like to collaborate with me on this shawl project, and luckily she said yes. So she sent me these two colors. This is Champagne Blush, and this is Ferrocin, and both are her merino linen singles, so they are 90% South African merino and 10% linen. And Madeline from Yama Fiber Arts, I met her as well in Edinburgh. She is such a lovely person. You should definitely check out her yarns. She produces like really beautiful colors. So she sent me those skeins, and I started to work on the shawl again. And this is how far I've come with it. Like I said, this is an unlucky project. I've actually had to rip it back one more time, because when I was making the triangles the first time, I don't know what I was thinking of. Probably nothing. I was just knitting along, and when I was ready to start the second set of triangles, I realized that for some reason, I don't have enough stitches on my needles, and I started to think of what have I done? How come I don't have enough stitches? And then I realized that I had forgotten to make enough increases. Like when you decrease in brioche rib, you always decrease 2 stitches, so you decrease the knit stitch as well as the purl stitch, so you knit 3 stitches together to produce one stitch, but here in the garter section where I was supposed to increase, I had always only increased one stitch, so I ended up losing 2 stitches per triangle every time I made a decrease. So of course, when I was ready to start the second set of triangles, there weren't enough stitches on my needles, so I had to rip it back one more time. But now, finally, 5th attempt to this pattern, I'm well on my way, and it's starting to look the way I want. So there's always gonna be this like light triangle followed by a dark triangle. So I changed the order of the yarns, and on first here, this is the knit side for the light pink, but here it's for the dark blue, and this is the back side. So it's gonna look like this, and another shawl pattern that looks good on both sides. So this, like I said, it's really important for me, and I really enjoy working in brioche rib just because it looks good on each side. Another thing that I've been ripping back, before Christmas I started working on a fisherman's rib pullover, but I quite soon realized that it was boring for me to knit with a fingering weight yarn, just like basic brioche, no fisherman's rib. So I ripped it back, and I bought from Knitting from Olive, I bought this the colorways copper green. So I bought this silk mohair from Knitting for Olive, and I'm gonna start working on the similar fisherman's rib pullover, but with an added strand of silk mohair, so I can use slightly larger needles, and I think it's going a bit faster. This one is from Camilla Vad. It's the Lambswool, and the colorway is called Messing. So they're both like copperish colors, and it's something I should redo the math for the pullover because the gauge is changing now that I'm adding the mohair. So I haven't yet started, but those are like my favorite colors. It's like I absolutely love those like coppery green colors. My favorite color ever. I've been really bit by the mohair bug lately, so I have quite a lot of mohair things on my needles. Here's a new pullover design that I've been working on, and it's also knitted with a strand of silk mohair. Now that I've started to work for Novita, I'm a bit conscious about working on my own patterns at the moment, because I don't want the people at Novita to think that I'm kind of like saving the best ideas for myself, and that's why I've been trying to put my own designing a bit on the sidelines. So at the moment I'm mostly working on the things that I started before I started working for Novita, and also I'm kind of like recycling ideas that I've already used. So for example, for this pullover, you might recognize the stitch pattern, or then you might not, but it's the same that I used for the Aalto mittens. So kind of like not bringing anything new on the table at the moment, but like working with the ideas that I already have had and making new things with them. So this is gonna be an Aalto pullover, and the yarns that I'm using for this one is Isager Silk Mohair. This is the color 36, so it's like a really dark purplish burgundy color, and I'm holding it together with Vovo from Retrosaria Vovo. So I absolutely love the label. This is the colorway number 6, and it's working with these two yarns held together. And it's like you can see, it's a top-down raglan pullover with the same Aalto cable pattern that I used for my Aalto mittens. So this is something that I casted on lately. And then one more thing before I'm done for today's episode. I already announced on Instagram that I'm hosting a Poet Knitalong starting next Thursday, so the Thursday 18th of April, and the Knitalong will be running for 2 months. And you can either start your project during the Knitalong, or you can finish an already started poet. I still haven't decided on how to pick winners. Either people who have finished their poet during the time of the Knitalong, or just like pick my favorite among all the photos that have been shared using the Poet KAL hashtag on Instagram. Or maybe I have one winner for each. That might be a really good idea. But I'm still like thinking about all the final details about the Knitalong. This is my first time ever hosting a Knitalong, so I'm a newbie at this, and there might be a lot of things that I haven't really kind of like figured out yet. But there's gonna be prices. Lanka-kauppa Titty has promised 30 euros worth of like a present card for their shop, so you can buy anything you want with the 30 euros. And from Lane magazine, they have promised a set of their new pins, so the 4 pins and my knitting notes journal in the new light brown colorway. So great prices coming along. And first I thought that I wouldn't be taking part of the KAL myself, or making like a poet hat or something small, because I'm quite busy at the moment with everything else that I've been working on, as you can see. But like I said, I've been bitten by the mohair bug, and so I kind of started to imagine what a Poet Silk Mohair sweater would look like. And once that idea came to my head, it has been hard to think about anything else. So when I ordered this silk mohair from Knitting from Olive, it was so super soft that I started looking at their different yarns, and I reached out to them and asked if they would like to collaborate with me on the Poet pullover, like silk mohair Poet pullover, and they kindly sent me their new merino color, the colored yarn. This is the oatmeal color, and their silk mohair. This is I think this was linen. It's her in Danish. It doesn't say anything to me, but I think this was the linen colorway and the oatmeal merino yarn. So this is the combination. And last night I made a little swatch about using those yarns, and this is so soft, super soft, So I'm gonna be making a silk mohair version of the Poet pullover, and that's what I'm gonna be knitting during the KAL. And I'm hoping that I can finish writing the pattern before Thursday. So if you are interested in knitting a silk mohair Poet during the KAL and at the same time test knitting the pattern for me, send me a message and let's see if I can finish the pattern by Thursday. So yeah, so if you would rather knit this one during the KAL, like I said, send me a message and let's talk about it. But there's gonna be a new version of the Poet pullover. I'm gonna be making longer sleeves and slightly higher neckline. The Poet pullover has kind of like a boat neck, and as you can remember, it has the 2/3 length sleeve. So I'm gonna be making full length sleeves as well as kind of the same neckline as this pullover, so a higher neckline. But that's something that I'm gonna be starting to knit next Thursday, and I'm really excited about this one. But that's everything that I've been working on, like mainly working on. Of course, I dabble a little bit here and a little bit there, and I'm working on a really cool collection of knitting patterns at Novita, so I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait to share a bit more about that with you. So there's gonna be something really excited coming out from me for the Novita Winter magazine. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited. I'm so inspired by my work at the moment, so that feels really good. But that's what I was gonna talk about today. Shortly going to film a little video about the Poet KAL and release it before the launch of the Poet Knitalong on next Thursday. But I hope you will join me for the Knitalong, and if you're interested in any of my test knits, head over to my Ravelry group, join the Ravelry group. I will post all the test knitting information always in the Ravelry group. But for this one, the Poet Mohair pullover, please be in contact with me personally. I think the easiest way is probably via direct messaging on Instagram. So I will tell more about the pattern and the process of the pattern. But that's everything. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you like my videos, please remember to subscribe to my channel so you will always get a notification when a new pattern, new video comes out. Of course, I always talk in my videos when a new pattern comes out, so you will always also get notification when a new pattern comes out. So that's everything. Bye. Have a lovely day.